You know that feeling, maybe late at night, you're thinking, is what's going to happen. Just going to happen no matter what I do.
Oh, absolutely. That tension, right, between feeling like things are set and feeling like you have choices.
Mm-hmm.
It's a classic human puzzle.
Exactly. And that's actually where we're focusing today. We've been looking at these excerpts from the Bhagavad Gita, specifically Lord Krishna's teachings on karma. And it throws up this really interesting question.
Which is?
If something is destined for you, if it's meant to be yours, why bother working for it? Why put in the effort?
Right. It does sound like a contradiction at first glance, doesn't it?
It really does. You think, well, if I'm going to get it anyway.
Yeah, why struggle?
Yeah.
But the Gita offers a much more nuanced view. It suggests this really deep, dynamic link between our actions, our karma, and how destiny actually plays out.
Okay, so let's dig into that paradox because, I can hear people thinking if the end's written, why stress about the journey?
That's a totally natural first reaction. But the Gita kind of proposes that the universe isn't just passive. It doesn't just sit there while destiny unfolds.
Okay.
It says action, karma, is the very engine of the universe. It's not just philosophy. It's the force that shapes things.
So action is fundamental.
Yes. The text even points to something like breathing. Just breathing in and out. That's considered a continuous act of karma.
Wow, okay. Breathing. So the basic idea here from the Gita is nothing happens, nothing comes into being without some kind of action.
Exactly. Nothing is achieved without action. And that understanding shifts how we see destiny. Maybe the destination is fixed, maybe, but the path isn't necessarily set in stone.
Ah, I see.
And the Gita basically lays out two main ways to approach this. Two paths, you could say.
All right, I'm intrigued. What are these paths?
Well, the first one, let's call it the path of conscious action.
Okay.
This is where you actively engage. You consciously put your effort towards what you feel aligns with your purpose, your goals, whatever's destined, perhaps.
So you're actively participating.
Right. And the Gita suggests that when you do that, when you align your effort with that potential destiny, the journey tends to be, smoother, more harmonious.
Like you're paddling with the current, maybe?
That's a great way to put it. You're working with the flow, not against it. Now, challenges might still pop up.
Sure, life isn't always easy.
Of course not. But on this path, those challenges are often framed more as opportunities for growth, part of the journey, not just obstacles.
Okay, that makes sense. So what's the alternative? What if someone just decides, nope, I'll wait, destiny can just deliver?
Oh, well, that leads us to what we could call the path of resistance.
Resistance, okay.
If you choose inaction, just expecting things to happen without putting in effort, the Gita suggests the universe kind of course corrects.
Course corrects. How?
It often means circumstances will arise, sometimes difficult ones, that essentially force you to take the actions you are avoiding.
Ooh, that sounds less than ideal.
The implication is definitely that this path involves more struggle, maybe more pain, more hardship that perhaps could have been avoided if you'd acted willingly earlier.
So it's the same destination, potentially, but a much bumpier ride.
You got it, like being dragged down that river instead of paddling. You'll get there, but maybe bruised and battered.
Okay.
And this difference, this contrast between the two paths, makes even more sense when you bring in another Gita concept. Karma as a kind of universal currency.
Karma as currency. Tell me more about that metaphor.
Think of it like this. Every outcome, everything achieved has a cost, a price payable in action, in karma. You can't get something for nothing, energetically speaking.
Right, makes sense. There's always an input required for an output.
Exactly. And the two paths represent different ways of paying that karmic price.
So the path of conscious action is like paying up front, willingly investing your effort.
Precisely. You pay willingly with focused, intentional action. You make the investment.
And the path of resistance.
That's like paying reluctantly. You still end up paying the cost, but it's extracted through difficulties, through hardship, through maybe suffering that arises because you resisted taking action initially. The karmic bill comes due one way or another.
Wow, okay. That really clarifies the difference in experience. Now, there's that famous line from the Gita, right? Do your karma and do not think about the result.
Ah, yes. A crucial one.
How does that fit in? If the result is kind of destined and we have to act anyway, shouldn't we not worry about the outcome? It seems to align, but also maybe contradict.
It's a really key point and easy to misunderstand. When Krishna advises Arjuna this, he's not saying don't care about results or don't have goals. Not at all.
Okay, so what is he saying?
He's saying shift your primary focus. Don't let your mind be completely consumed by anxiety about a specific future outcome you can't fully control. Instead, pour your energy into the quality of your action right now in this present moment.
Ah, I see. So it's about how you do the work.
Exactly. Engage fully, do your best, but release that tight grip on exactly how things must turn out. Surrender the ultimate outcome, you might say, to the larger flow, the higher plan.
Okay, that makes more sense. It's about presence in the action, not detachment from purpose.
Precisely. And the Gita points out several benefits to this approach.
Like what?
Well, first, you actually act better, with more skill, more focus, because you're not mentally tied up in knots worrying about what if.
Right, less distraction.
Second, it naturally cuts down on anxiety.
Right.
Your attention is on what you can influence your effort right now, not on future possibilities you can't dictate.
Makes sense.
Third, and this is interesting, you can actually find joy in the process, in the doing itself, not just waiting for the potential reward at the end.
Finding satisfaction in the work itself.
Yes. And finally, it aligns you with your dharma, your sense of duty, your right path. You're acting with integrity, with dedication, regardless of anticipated rewards.
So, thinking about, our listeners, maybe you're prepping for a big meeting or learning a new skill or tackling some project. This perspective suggests that your effort, your active engagement, it's not just about hitting that specific target. It's actually shaping the whole experience of getting there.
Absolutely. And the Gita really poses the question directly to us, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It says, look, if certain outcomes are perhaps written in the stars, the real choice you have is how you want to get there.
How you travel the path.
Exactly. Do you want the path of conscious, willing action, where you participate, learn, maybe even enjoy the journey despite challenges?
Yeah.
Or will you wait? Will you take the path where the universe might have to push you, perhaps through tougher circumstances?
It really puts the power, the agency back in our hands, even within a framework that includes destiny.
It does. The core message isn't that destiny makes action pointless. It's that destiny demands action.
It necessitates it. Wow.
Yeah. The choice isn't if you'll arise, maybe, but how. And that dedicated action, it's not just about the destination. It's deeply tied to your own growth, your experience along the way.
So, wrapping this up for everyone listening, according to this ancient wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita, working towards your goals isn't fighting against destiny. It's actually how you participate in its unfolding. The quality of your effort, the presence you bring, the choices you make, that's what shapes the experience of reaching whatever is meant for you.
And it leads us with that powerful personal question, really, as the text asks, which path will you choose?
Yeah. Will you choose conscious action, embrace the flow, the growth, or will you find yourself maybe pushed onto that path of resistance?
It's definitely something to reflect on, especially when facing your own goals and challenges.
Absolutely. And, this deep dive really just scratched the surface. There's so much more in the Gita about karma, dharma, action.
Oh, layers upon layers.
But hopefully this gives you a compelling way to think about how your actions, big or small, are constantly shaping not just your future, but your present journey too. Which path will you choose? Something to consider.